I say this all the time. I say the best things that ever happened to me are the worst things that ever happened to me. All the trauma and bullshit I've been through in my life are the best things that ever happened to me. Because as a man, if you've not had a difficult life, you cannot be good at being a man. Being a good man and being good at being a man, they're two slightly different things. But to be good at being a man, you need to have been through so much shit that when the Matrix deletes your entire life from the internet and starts lying about you at mass, and people start doing protests wanting you fucking hung, and they're looking for your family members, and reporters start calling every ex-girlfriend you've ever had, trying to convince them and bribe them to lie, to come out and say you're something you're not. When they're genuinely out to put you in jail, that you can sit there and be focused and stoic enough to go, you know what? Okay, what's the chessboard? What's gonna happen? Who's trying to shoot me right now? Nobody. Okay, so it's better than it was a couple years ago. Okay, so X, Y, Z, and plan through it, right? You're never gonna be capable as a man if you've not had trauma. The best men ever have had trauma. If you call a police officer, you need a brave police officer. He ain't gonna be brave unless he's been through shit.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be brave unless he's been through shit.
I have no problem with people disliking me. I didn't go on the internet expecting everybody to like me. I know there's a bunch of people who are going to misunderstand me. I know I'm doing good for the world. I live with a pure heart. I know that I'm a positive influence. I go to sleep with a clear conscience, and that's what matters more to me than a bunch of bullshit and idiots. But yeah, what Brad was just saying is super important. I think that if you look at any man who's very good at being a man, most of them have had extremely traumatic lives. Yeah. If you're going to talk about the most brave man you can think of, he's been through trauma. If you think of the best soldier you can think of, he's been through trauma. You think about anything, the man who's going to charge into the burning building, the fireman, he's been through trauma. If you find a man who's never had any traumatic experiences, he's terrible at being a man. Yeah. He's weak and he's soft and he'll collapse and he's never struggled. I know me, and I don't want to tell a bunch of stories on the internet, but I know all the shit I went through and all the pain I had to suffer to become the man I am. And every time I meet another guy who has his life in order, it's the same story. This fucked me up, but I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna attack the world anyway. Yeah. And that's how it goes. So as a man, you're right. You have to be vulnerable, you have to feel it, you have to accept it, but you have to put it in a positive direction. This is what's so dangerous about what we were saying earlier, where people make excuses and externalize. Yeah. Because they're taking that trauma and that pain, instead of going, I fucked up. She left me because I wasn't good enough. I'm gonna become better. Instead, she is the problem. It's there, and then they lose their ability to go and become something. They lose their own motivational force, and then they sit there with a fucking ego and arrogance and go, I don't need to become any better. I can stay a jackass. It's all her fault. I'll find another one. And then it happens on repeat, and it just ends up a downward cycle of dumb shit.
Names a single attribute for masculinity, which is going to come from a place other than trauma or pain. I talk about this all the time. People say, I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the Matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail, as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma, and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters. So Justin just absolutely and utterly nailed it. My kickboxing coach used to say to me, I used to come in the gym, say, what do you hate the most? And I said, I hate running. He said, okay, you're going running. I say, why? He goes, because whatever you hate is what you need. Whatever you hate is what you need. I want to spar, bag work, pads, no problem. Running, I didn't want to run, but that's what you need. And that's what life's about. You're not going to be able to go through life avoiding pain and also becoming a man of quality. You're going to have to be that guy who's been through so much shit that he can wake up and go, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing compared to back then. This ain't nothing compared to that time. And if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to always suffer the consequences of not being that guy. There's pain to become important, and there's pain in not being important. So you have to make a choice. So I think Justin absolutely utterly nailed it. I think his answer is even better than mine could be. You need to find something you're afraid of, find something that could hurt you, and go do it. And that's one of the great things about being young, right? You're basically superhuman.
Yeah.
All of us are our age. We're all in our 30s. I remember when I was 21, bro, I could
through a wall.
Bro, I could drink all night. Yeah. I run 20 miles.
Fight all day.
You couldn't hurt me. Like I had Wolverine-like healing abilities. And this is actually one of the problems with the world today. I noticed the internet's fucked this up because we have all these youngsters who have a voice. They all think they know something on Twitter and on the internet, these kids, right? When I was 23, 22, I didn't know shit. I'm 35 now. I'm one of the smartest men on the planet. And when I was 23, I didn't know shit. When you're 35, you're definitely going to still be a dumbass. So when you're 23 like you are now, you don't know anything. Your only attribute is the fact you have Wolverine-like healing abilities and you're not using it. Stop talking, start listening, get out there, get hurt, get the fuck back up. And there's a degree, this is also something I want you to comment on from the football perspective, but there is a degree of wisdom that comes from physicality. I learned a whole bunch of shit about the world from just having my ass kicked. It wasn't even conversations. It was just getting beaten up. And you learn about the world from I write tweets and people are like, that's so wise. Where'd you learn that? I was like, oh, kicked in the face. That's how.
Yeah.
Email me their long lists of all the bad things that happened to them, and I reply, fantastic. You are so lucky. You have all the building blocks to become the exact kind of man you want to be. If none of this shit happened to you, when something else bad happens to you later, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. Fantastic. And he goes, no, but this. He replied again with more excuses. Said, why are you making excuses? I just told you what happened to you is a good thing. You need to reframe your mind. Bad things happened to Batman. They killed his parents. Do you understand? That's why he's Batman. You've just told me you have the building blocks to become you might become top G when I retire. Fantastic. What are you complaining about? He goes, well, what do? I said, you need to work. Take all that trauma. If you're truly heartbroken, my friend, and we've all been there as men, if you're truly heartbroken, you can't sleep. That means you're going to get in fantastic shape. You better hit the gym. You have nothing else to do. Stop watching YouTube. Stop emailing me. I want pictures of you in the gym. Get to fucking work. Heartbreak's a fantastic motivator, as is depression, as is sadness. Great. Look at what's pissing you off and make sure it never happens again. If you were jacked and rich as fuck, she probably wouldn't have left your ass. So get your shit together, right? So this is so important. Trauma is such an important part of being a man. And the Matrix talks of trying to say that trauma is terrible and avoid trauma, or if you get trauma, take a pill, and that's unrealistic. Trauma is going to happen to you, and you as a man need to internalize it, accept it, and weaponize it to become the best version of yourself you can be. And that requires mental strength and stoicism. It does not require, be more emotional. If you're more emotional, you're going to fall apart when shit happens. You're going to end up like Logan Paul, crying your eyes out on TV like a bitch.
I decided to go out and learn to fight to the level I learned to fight, because I had a couple fights in school and I won them, but it was kind of close, and I was like, that was too close for comfort. And I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go learn to fight. And it's absolutely often discomfort and trauma and bad things that'll motivate you to go and do the most amazing things. Like we said earlier, you have to take the negativity and use it in a positive manner. Like we said about stress, it can go in different directions. I'll tell you right now, if you were to say to me, Andrew, you have to make double the money you're currently making, what's the number one emotion you want to feel to do it? I'd say heartbreak.
Yeah.
Stress?
Break my heart. Break my heart. I can't sleep. I'm furious. Break my heart and I'll make a fucking $1 billion. Take all the negativity and turn it into positivity. So that trauma and all those bad things that happen to you can be very, very positive things and give you a positive aspect on life if you approach it in the right way. Most people are told, when you feel sad, sit at home, be sad. It's not your fault. You've got a disease. You're depressed. Be a bitch about it. I argue the opposite. I say, when you feel sad, good. Take all that energy and convert it into something that's going to be a positive force for your life.